We
I was
need
just
more.
going to say that. And Reeve, could you post up that article I asked before the show, the Space Force? That brings us to
Mhm.
Space Force, what you just said. Now, I thought I heard 40 billion, but this article cites 30 billion. I think more has been put in since then, but 30 billion towards Space Force, which nobody knows what it is. And as you know, Reuben, because we've had discussions about this, the Pentagon doesn't get audited. And when it does get audited, it flunks it. It's flunked their audits 8 times. So this kind of goes into, not to, a pun here, but it goes into a black hole, like a space black hole, the Space Force. So
Lots of black holes in Washington for sure.
Yeah, right. So do you think cynically, that some of these hearings is around trying to drum up more money for Space Force? Or I hear what you're saying, that these are legitimate people. This has been going on for decades, these conversations. And it's been so hard to get it forward to the public. Even with the FOIAs and with the release of information. And you produced actually that hearing, the citizen hearing. Could you talk a little bit about what made you want to do that and how you feel now that you're watching the real thing happen?
Yeah. Well, the first part, yes. I mean, this is definitely there's no doubt about it that it's a ploy to get more money for the military machine. That is a heavy hand that's being played here in this whole thing. But again, that's one aspect of this. The other aspect, I think we'll get into a little bit later, but there's a lot of positivity just having this conversation around this secret stuff that that's, I think, the bigger picture, which we'll go into. But yes, going back to the citizen hearing. So yes, in 2013, I had my own experiences in 2007. I was convinced something's going on here. I started going down the rabbit hole, and
take a second.
Mm-hmm.
Tell the audience about that who may not have seen our first interview. What was your experience? Yeah.
So in 2007, I had a daytime sighting. Several craft showed up in the sky for about 45 minutes, and it was as most people who've had sort of these out of this world type of experiences, it's a game changer in how you perceive the world. You don't really think about it in your day-to-day life, and you go about it as like, okay, yeah, whatever. At least for me, maybe it's real, maybe it's not. I don't know. I don't care. I'm a stuntman. I was working on Avatar at the time.
Yeah.
Playing an alien, right? So literally, ironically, and then and then had this experience. And I couldn't shake it off. I couldn't shake off what had happened, and is this real? And why isn't anybody talking about it? What's up there? So I started going down these rabbit holes, and discovering Stephen Greer and the Disclosure Project and all the work that he's been doing over the decades. He's been doing a lot of good work getting the word out on this subject. And then eventually signed up for one of his CE5 contact events, where we go under the stars and sort of do a meditation and call them in. And 3 nights in a row, more ships showed up. Sort of sealed the deal for me that this because I still was like, maybe I was hallucinating that day. I don't know. So I wasn't on drugs or anything, but it was just like, you don't know. You still question it. And then and then after interviewing more people and going down so many rabbit holes and really understanding what's going on here with the cover up, it became this passion of mine to get this word out. I thought I was still naive at the time. I didn't understand the government cover up was so deep and so maniacal and just the means that they literally will kill people for talking about this stuff. This was especially back then, not now, obviously, but even in the 2010, there were researchers that were getting taken out if they got too close to some of the truths. And but I kind of was just like, I didn't buy into all that. I was still like, we'll do this event. The press will get a hold of this, and then it'll be disclosure. Everybody will know. And then it was during the production of the event and calling in the press. We did it at the National Press Club in Washington, D.C. Has a lot of notoriety, and just a few blocks from the White House. And for 5 days, for about 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day on some days, we had a collection of over 32 hours of testimony from several witnesses, 6 former members of Congress. So it was a mock congressional hearing that we set up to we were trying to push, it was an advocacy move to sort of push disclosure or push the media to take the subject seriously, push Congress to take it seriously. And it did, to a certain extent, it did a lot of good, but I was blown away at how much it was shunned and shamed by the media, and how Congress didn't take action on it. That sort of blew my mind, even though we had Senator Gravel and many other fine congressmen and women on the panel. It sort of showed me really how locked in this whole secrecy and how the media is in sort of cahoots with a lot of these groups. And now we know after the fact, in fact, what do we, just like today, right, or yesterday, we get the Facebook, Facebook and Instagram were censoring the Facebook files, right? That we get the first bit of that's coming through. We know about the Twitter files, but now we have proof that Facebook has been censoring. And this is on the social media side, but just imagine on the mainstream media side how censored and controlled it's been, since probably the beginning of the media. Who knows? Right. So anyways, at that time, it was, I sort of went into recluse because it drained me with all my money, my company. I lost my company. I lost a ton of money, my investors' money, and I got nothing but ridicule and hard times, as you're aware of that, how that goes, right?
So sorry, Reuben. I know it's tough times. Yeah.
Well, it was actually, I go in retrospect, I'm like, it was actually the best thing that ever happened to me, because I did start my inner journey, going deeper. I was already sort of a spiritual guy doing martial arts, and meditating and that kind of thing. But I really went deeper with my inner journey. And then that's when I started my other show, Interview With E.D, Extra-Dimensionals, and started communicating directly with these ETs, and getting the insights and the knowledge and the sort of new operating system on how to see the world through a different lens and not get caught up in all of the external noise that we're still working through right now as a collective. So so that was sort of that journey. And we're seeing things unfold in this way in fashion, and I'm still sort of keeping apprised of the news cycles and these types of things. And that's more, I try to have a very neutral, not so charged when I see it, even though it can be very charged. You just look at all the crazy news, especially of late, and you're just like, what is the world going? What's going on here?
But especially when you know someone in the news, right?
Especially when you know exactly someone in the news.
You're like, what? Yeah.
But the bigger message, that comes through my interactions is, humanity is going through a major upgrade in its evolution collectively. Individually, we're all doing our work, but collectively, we're sort of purging all of this this negative energy, this stuff that's been sort of holding humanity back from its evolution for a long, long time. For we can go really far back, but really since the 1940s, since this UFO cover-up, there's been Dr. Steven Spielberg calls it the lost century, with the suppression of technologies and the suppression of information, and we're sort of coming out of that now. And I think Lisa Royale, who's been on my show, she talks about the beach ball. It's like taking a beach ball and trying to hold it underwater, and you need a bunch of people to do it because it's big and awkward, and you're sort of doing it, and you can only do it for so long, and then eventually people get fatigued, and then what happens is, instead of it just coming to the surface, it shoots out of the water. So this rubber band effect. So I think if the positive thing we have to look forward to is humanity has been suppressed in its evolution through the technologies, through the secrecies, through religion and mind control kind of stuff in that sense. So we're going to break through that, and we're going to go really fast, really far. And that's what's exciting. That's sort of why I'm like, okay, all this stuff is just temporary. We're just working through we're going through a collective purge, so to say. If you've been through any kind of plant medicine ceremonies, you go through the purge, and then you get the clarity afterwards. So I think we're purging right now. It's kind of nasty and dirty, but we'll get there.